is 5 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and honor everybody's time and get started. Thank you so much for being here today. It's great to see the group of you here. I hope you've been having fun, cooking. If you've joined us from previous class series, or if it's your first time, then we're happy to have you here. So we're all in the right place. We're here for culinary medicine. And as you've heard us saying, as you've been joining, right, just giving us some tips so that we can all have as good of a quality experience as we can, with just by making sure our videos are turned off, keeping our microphones muted. And then we just encourage all of your questions to just please put those through the chat. We will monitor it there, and we'll make sure to bring them up to Chef as we can while she's cooking. There's also a raising of the hand feature. If you're able to see that one, you can click on that and it will raise your hand, and that way I know you've got a question or something you want to share. And you just click it a second time and that will lower your hand. And so then we've got those features there for you to play with. And we're here today with Chef Alyssa, and we're grateful to have her here with us. She's been, a personal chef for over 25 years, and she just has been bringing us such wonderful recipes which are not only flavorful, but they're full of nutrition. And that's really the point of this, right? We all eat a lot of food, but we might not be getting a lot of nutrition. And so we want to be able to combine these forces and really enjoy what we're making. So happy to have her here with us. Allison is actually out today, so she's not here with us. And then we've got myself. Oh, I can actually come on camera here to you guys and say hi. So hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us today. We're excited to have you. And I'm going to start here with this phrase, the eat food, not too much, and mostly plants. And we start here because you might be kind of asking yourself, well, what's the big deal about this whole food plant-based diet I keep hearing about? And I'm going to give you a few reasons why. So one of them is, in addition to cutting your carbon footprint in half, it's also the only diet shown to prevent and reverse chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes and coronary artery disease. So that's a huge deal. I mean, did you get that right? We're preventing and reversing disease. That's huge. And we're doing it with food as being our medicine. So what does a whole food plant-based diet look like? Well, it really celebrates food in all of its most natural form. So the way that our ancestors would recognize it as growing and coming out of the ground. That includes our fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. And in addition to what we're including, we're minimizing or reducing the intake of processed foods, refined processed sugars, white flour, and animal-derived foods. Now, I understand that changing our eating style might seem a little bit daunting, right? It's something that's been with us for our entire life, and it takes a little getting used to. And that's why we try to sum it up on these words on the screen here. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And those words were written by Michael Pollan. He's an American author and a journalist, and he's written lots of books about food and health, and he coined that phrase. And we just want to make it simple and accessible to everybody. Now, most of us know that vegetables are good for us, but very few of us are really eating them. And a major barrier has usually been that these foods have not really been seen as being delicious. They're often portrayed as being a chore to eat. And we're hoping that in this program, we're going to shift that mindset and open you up to a new way of experiencing healthy food. Now, while in this class here today, we hope to kind of plant those seeds of curiosity into healthier cooking. I'm also going to put a link in the chat to a video series that Stanford School of Medicine put together in 2016. And we encourage you to check this out on your own. It's a series of 17 videos. They range from about 3 to 5 minutes, and they give really practical skills and information on how and why we want to eat healthier. So just give me a minute here to multitask that link over to you. And those are found on YouTube videos. So hopefully that one works. If not, I will cut and paste it over. Now, before we get to the cooking part, I want to draw your attention and highlight one of the handouts that were included in the class link for today, and that is this healthy plate. This is what we're aiming for, you guys. Now, some of you might be familiar with that food pyramid, like the diagram that most of us might have grown up with, but in recent years, we've that's been changed through current research and health data to this plant or to this plate that we're looking at. And you notice the plate's divided into 3 different parts, and the vegetables really become the star of the plate. So half of that plate is filled with colorful vegetables. A fourth of that plate is filled with our protein, and the other fourth with a grain, preferably a whole grain. And you'll notice that the word meat is not on here anymore. Instead, they use the term protein, which means that that can include plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, or tofu. And these are some of the ingredients we're going to be focusing on in these classes together. But the main takeaway we want you to walk away with is to make your plate colorful. If you have a lot of color on your plate, then you know you're moving in the right direction. And instead of just counting calories, right, there's all this focus about counting our calories. Instead, we want to count the number of plants on your plate. We want to really celebrate those plants. If you're interested in learning more about the healthy plate specifically, we do have a separate virtual 90-minute class taught by our registered dietitians for Kaiser Permanente members called Get Your Plate in Shape. And that class will go over a lot of different variations of meals that are in this type of a format. And I can share more about that at the end of our class time today. So thanks for bearing with us through all of that. Hopefully the why we're here today. And before we get into the cooking, I'm going to pull up the recipes that Chef's going to be preparing today so that she can just briefly review those ingredients. As a reminder, your email invitation that each of you got to join the class today also has a link that will bring you to the recipes for class today. So you can go back and revisit that, print them out. If you have any questions or need the recipes again, I can help by pulling it up at the end of class today. And one last point I just want to bring in is that we do acknowledge there may be a wide range of people attending tonight. Some of you might be here for the first time and just wondering, what this is all about. And others of you may be wanting to really eat an exclusively plant-based diet. So this class is really all about supporting you in whatever spectrum or direction that you choose. These recipes we're sharing are easily adaptable to your personal tastes and preferences. If you have any questions as we go along, again, please put them in the chat or raise your hand, and we're going to give Chef the opportunity to answer those questions and share any possible substitutions if needed. So congratulate yourself, you guys, for being here, and enjoy watching and learning what we have for you today. So I'm going to move this into reviewing the recipes together. And the first one is going to be the barbecue lentils with eggplant. So Chef, I will turn that over to you to review the recipe ingredients together.
Okay, all right. I will, I can't really see well, so I'm going to look down and look at my recipe. But so what we're going to do is we're going to use brown lentils for this recipe. And what I tend to do with lentils, the brown ones, is I soak them overnight. I mean, in the morning. I actually start it in the morning. It could be overnight too. But I soak them in some water, and that just kind of softens them up. It doubles their size, and it actually can start the sprouting process if you soak it long enough. So we've got the brown lentils. You don't have to, but it just kind of helps in the cooking process. It speeds it along. We've got our lentils. We're going to saute. We got those soaked and drained. And then we have some Japanese style eggplant that I cut in half and then cut into 1-inch chunks. And we're going to saute some onion with the eggplant and some seasonings. We have garlic and oregano. And then we have broth that we're going to cook it. And then after the lentils are cooked, we're going to drain the lentils. And then once it's drained, we're going to then continue with the recipe. So then we will be adding a barbecue sauce, vinegar, fresh tomatoes, and then we're going to finish up with some green onions, cilantro at the very end. And then that's just going to be like the fresh toppings. So that is what we're going to do first.
Fantastic, and that's one of my favorites. And then any questions on this one? We're gonna, she'll get to making this one first, but we're gonna just review the other recipe real quick as well. And again, for those of you just joining, if you don't mind, just please muting your microphone. And if you have your camera, please turn it off. Turn your cameras off so that we can have the focal point be on Chef and her cooking. All right, let me transfer over to the Mediterranean lentil salad.
Okay, so the Mediterranean lentil salad is using French lentils, which are also known as Puy, Puy lentils, and they stay firm when you cook. So I went ahead this morning and I cooked them with some garlic and some thyme and some bay leaf. And then I drained that, and then that has been chilled. And then I'm going to add some fresh ingredients, make it flavorful, crunchy. And then I have like a vinaigrette that I'm going to toss it with. And then I usually serve it on a bed of lettuce. So we will go over the different kinds of lentils too. I have them all for you to look at. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can use them in different recipes, how they apply.
Fantastic. And I love how cooking the lentils in different, like you had with the bay leaf or with broth, it really changes
Hmm.
the flavoring of them. So that's fun
Yeah,
to do too. So, okay,
yeah.
so I'm going to take these recipes down and then I'm just going to spotlight Chef's cooking area here for everybody. So give me a thumbs up if you guys can see that. You should be able to see her cooking pan in the middle and some of the ingredients around the side. And then you'll see Chef in the top right-hand corner as she's talking.
Okay, so I'm just going to scoot
Okay.
that a little bit this way. Okay, so what I've got is I'm going to I have a conduction burner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this recipe on this stove, this portable burner. And then I'm going to transfer it to my stove while we go ahead and do the salad so that it'll continue cooking. So I've got the stove, excuse me, the conduction burner started. And I'm going to do it kind of a medium heat so it's not too hot. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. You could use olive oil, avocado oil. Olive oil, you just don't want it to be too hot. And the heat will kind of make the oil ripple. So you kind of keep an eye on that. See if it does that. I can smell it too. And then I'm going to add some onions. It's not making sizzling noises though.
Probably takes. So I recently started incorporating the avocado oil, and that's nice because it's a real high heat, yeah, oil.
Yes, yeah,
So
and
it can work well.
those are the two that I use predominantly. And sometimes I will actually add a little bit of avocado oil with my olive oil just to kind of, buffer it. Uh, so I do have, yeah, a little bit of avocado oil that I can just add a little bit too. And then that just kind of helps with the whole heating of the oils not being too high. Okay, so I've got my onions going, and I usually cook them until they start getting translucent. Let me know how I'm doing there with the.
Yeah, it's working. It's working good. I
Okay.
don't see the steam. I can see the steam coming off, but it doesn't seem to be clouding the video quality. So I think we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, does it
So
matter
for
the size of the onion, or if people like it smaller, doesn't matter?
yes, these recipes are just really subjective. So I tend to like my onions, especially in this recipe. I kind of like them cut into like little thin slivers of half moons. But if you like your onions chopped, fine or medium chopped, that's just perfect too. It's really kind of however you like your onions cut. I do this because this recipe is the lentils cook down, the eggplants get nice and soft, and I kind of like a little bit of texture of these pieces of onions in here with this length. That's where I
Mhm.
go mentally when I'm cutting them.
So really
So
personal preference, whatever
it's all
size you guys
personal
want.
preference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so these are getting a little bit soft, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the eggplant. Now, what I did was I cut the eggplant in about 1 inch chunks, and I cut them first the eggplant in half longwise, and then kind of cut it across. because I find sometimes that skin can be a little tough as far as for the cooking process. So it gives you a little more surface area to break down. If you cut it too thin, it can actually, the eggplant will like turn to mush and you'll like not even see the eggplant in the dish. So that's why I try and keep it at about an inch.
Okay. Are there any
so,
substitutions if people don't like eggplant?
Oh yeah, you could do any kind of, oh, there we go. Let me turn that down a little bit. Yes, you can do anything you want. You can do mushrooms, bell peppers, zucchinis, really any of your favorite vegetables. Go for it. So I just put in a little bit of tamari, and I have some oregano. I am kind of holding off a little bit on the garlic until right before I'm going to add in the broth because I don't like the garlic to burn. So just be mindful of not burning your garlic. It's going in now. Okay, and then I'm going to add in my soaked and drained lentils. So this is 1 cup that has soaked, and it makes it like 2 cups in volume once it absorbs the water.
And what's the minimum soaking time, or is there a minimum soaking time?
Oh, maybe an hour or something. If you don't, it's okay. But I just find it helps with digestion. It makes the cooking time quicker. Okay. So for me, if I've got the forethought, like in the morning, I'll go ahead and just cover it with water.
It's a good reason to pre-plan our meals, right? So we know ahead of time. We got to set that out.
Right. But, don't stress too much. If it doesn't happen, it's still good. And then I have a broth that I have a vegetable broth. Let's see where it's in a jar, mason jar. Camera? No, it's not showing. But anyways, what I did was I actually dilute it because I find that vegetable broth, like the box kind is kind of strong. So I do like 1/3, 2/3 of water. So I do 1/3 of the broth concentrate and then 2/3 water. I've made recipes before. I've had recipes where someone has made it and they do the straight broth, and it's like you just taste that predominant flavor coming through. Plus, it extends the life of your broths, right? I mean, you got more broth to work with.
And in this case, it's usually vegetable broth, I'm guessing, yeah?
Yes. I think we're all kind of aware of the prices changing recently. Things are getting more and more expensive. And I live in Honolulu, so I'm not, and because I cook a lot, for people, and I'm shopping all the different stores. And right now I'm finding that the Target vegetable broth, because I tend to buy organic too, so the Target vegetable broth has been the best price everywhere I can find. So there's certain things I find in different stores, so I'll just order it again from that store. And then I also try and make my own. I have a bag going where I save the onion peels and the carrot peels and the celery peels, parsley stalks, and then I'll make broth when it's, I got a good amount. So I try and do that too.
Maybe we'll have to do that one of these times. Yeah, I had saved everything and then I just never got to it. I had to throw them out.
Right. And then if it gets to be, like what you're talking about, sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm not same thing. I'm not getting to this fast enough. I pop it in the freezer. And at least, it's stopping the whole breakdown process. So I'll put all the parts in the freezer and then I'll defrost them and make the broth. So another option there. Okay, so I forgot to put in my bay leaf. So I got my bay leaf and I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And then once it comes up to a boil, I'm going to transfer this to my stovetop so that we can move on to, while it's cooking, into making the salad. And before we make the
to...
salad, I think, well, I'm sorry, maybe we can talk about all the different kinds of lentils.
Yes, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to re-spotlight this because it seems like the video, it might have
Right. Did it
froze, or
freeze?
there's like,
Yeah, because something happened because I was trying to show the broth and it
yeah.
wasn't.
But
And
we can
there's no
see,
liquid.
yeah, interesting.
So can I, with my tablet, do a selfie? Can I put this?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you fine the way that you're
Can
at.
you do?
Mhm.
Can you do that? Is that showing anything?
Let me try this. Stop spotlighting. Yep, I can see that. It's
I don't know if it matters.
kind of the
but,
corner of it.
No, that goes that way.
Yeah.
That goes that way.
Yeah.
That way.
There.
Okay. So, all right. So
You can
yeah,
kinda see
something's
it.
going
Yeah.
on with.
There, I think it's let me spotlight it again.
Because I've got liquid and it's boiling.
Okay, there, now it's moving again for me. So let me know if you guys can see it. I can see you stirring it now. Okay. Now it's
Right.
moving real time for me. So
Okay,
maybe just you guys just give it a minute if it's getting stuck.
Okay.
Yes. And hi Doris, welcome. Just FYI your video was on. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to reduce the heat and cover it, and then I'm going to continue cooking. I find that if, this recipe says 30 minutes, but if you've soaked it, I will, it reduces the cooking time. So I usually, if I've soaked them, I check it at 20 minutes. And then what we're going to do is after we cook it, we're going to drain the liquid. And I often keep that liquid because it is just so flavorful. And it's wonderful to use, like if you're as a broth or some sort of soup, and even like a lentil soup, you can use that saved broth for the soup. Or even if you want to do a gravy, that would be delicious. Okay, so I've got the burner started in my kitchen, and I'm just going to lift this and
transfer it over.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we're just going to let that simmer and cook in the background for the next, whatever, 20 minutes while she works on the Mediterranean lentil salad. And then we'll revisit the barbecue lentil one so that you can see what that looks like when it's finished cooking.
Okay. So what if you give me, let's see, first we'll talk about the lentils and then I will, then I'll position all the salad ingredients. Just move this here. This is hot, so I don't want to put it. Is that in the way? See, I'm still frozen. Is everyone else seeing?
Yeah, it seems like that one, the one that's above your cooktop. Oh, there, now it moved. Now it changed. Yeah, for whatever reason, there's a delay in there.
Okay. Well, let me know if you can see this. Because
I
I'm
can see it.
Okay. Because I can't tell if I'm in the center or anything based on my phone.
No, it's frozen again. Oh, no. It just kind of keeps going in and out. So we'll just have to do the best we can, you guys.
Okay. Can you see the lentils? You can just help me.
Yeah, if you can move them forward towards and there you go. Now we can see them.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what I have here is
No, we can't see anything. Can't see anything.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Is that like consensus?
I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting.
Nope, can't see it.
I think we got variations.
All right. Well, I guess I'll talk it through. So what I have here visually in my hands are 5 different kinds of lentils. So I just wanted to show you that there's all kinds of lentils and you can do all kinds of wonderful things with them. in the very first part of this ceramic dish I have is these split mung well, they're called split mung beans. I think they fall into the lentil category, and you can, in the like ethnic Indian dishes, they make like mung bean pancakes, or like Philippine recipes too do that. So you can actually soak this with rice and drain it, and then you blend it and make like almost like a pancake batter, and you can make these wonderful savory pancakes.
Chef, I'm
Then,
going to interrupt you for just a moment, and what I'm going to do
mhm,
is try spotlighting your iPad frame, and maybe you can hold
okay,
them in front of that one because we can see you there.
okay. Let me just double check while you're doing that. Okay, just want to double check my lentils. Okay, all right.
There you go,
So,
because that one seems to be working much better. Yeah,
okay,
there,
so
now it's working.
okay,
Good suggestion, Keone.
so I
Just hold them in front of your apron. Yeah, we can see them there.
okay. So
Yeah.
these are the yellow ones I was talking about. They're split mung. And then the second ones are the ones that we're going to do the salad, and these are called French Puy, P-U-Y. They're small, kind of brown, green, and a little bit speckled. And you cook them for about 20 minutes, and they keep their shape so they don't like get mushy. And that's what really is really cool about these lentils. Then you have the ones that we're doing the barbecue lentil recipe, which are considered the green lentils, and they're the ones that get soft and that you put in lentil soup. And then there's the red lentils that cook super fast, like 20 minutes. You can make all kinds of wonderful red lentil soups, all different kind of ethnic soups you can make with red lentils. You can even make like dips with them. I'm trying to think of all the wonderful things I've done with red lentils. You can also do like a pancake with red lentils, like how I talked about the yellow ones. And then these ones are called brown lentils, and they're smaller than the green ones. And what they actually are, they are these red lentils. Sometimes they're called split. These ones are where the skin has been taken off, and this is the one that has the skin on. So when they cook down, this dish gets a little red because underneath it, inside of it, is these kind of I call them red, but they actually kind of turn a pale orange yellow when you cook them. Hopefully I'm
Oh,
being, but
interesting.
I love the flavor of these ones. They're super hearty, and they hold
So
their shape a little bit more.
that's the red lentil with the covering on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a red lentil, but they're called brown lentils. So you'll see them in the stores as brown lentils, but that's what they are. They're just the red ones with the skin on. And you can make them, the recipes that call for the green lentils, you can use the brown lentils. You know, they interchange really well. The brown lentils just hold their shape more. And I prefer the flavor. There's just a little bit of a difference of flavor. And then the last one are these, they call them like beluga, almost like caviar. They're little tiny black lentils. And you can make salads with these. You can also do like an Indian dish called dal makhni. Well, they have a black lentil that's more oblong. But yeah, so there's actually two different kinds of black lentils. I'll have to get that next time. So it's really fun just to show you that there's like all kinds of lentils out there. And what I tend to do is, especially for the ones that aren't really easy to find that, you're not familiar with, I would go to like a market, like, a health market, like Down to Earth, or, one of those ones that sells beans and lentils in a bulk section. So then you can just like take what you want and then try them out, certain recipe. Places like Whole Foods will have the red lentils. and the brown, and sometimes the French. Sometimes the India markets, you can find the yellow ones. India market, or even in the Oriental section of the regular stores like Boulanger Times. But oftentimes they put yellow dye in them. So, you know, you'll see they're really bright yellow. And these are the same ones, but they tend to dye them. I don't know why. Maybe they just think it's a more of a selling point. So hopefully that gave you a little education, quick mini education on the types of lentils. And they're all a great source of iron. So it's a wonderful way to, oh, look, it looks like the camera's working again. Great way, at least it is on my side. I can see my hands and with all these lentils. Let me see if I can bring it up.
Yeah, and lentils
Okay.
they should be found in pretty much every grocery store. They're pretty common. We just might not have noticed them before, not been looking for them.
Yeah.
But I said maybe some of the specialty like the black or maybe red lentils still you could probably find at like a Safeway or something like that. But maybe the black ones or some of the specialty ones might be at a health food store.
And if you don't see them, like kind of like where they have the dried pinto beans and the dried split peas, you know, if you don't see them there, then you can look at kind of like the gourmet section. You know, usually Safeway will have like another little area where they might have different kinds of grains and beans and lentils that aren't just like the typical kind that you find in those bags, 1 pound bags. So, okay. So what I'll do is I'll set up for the salad.
All right. I'm going to
Be
try
right back.
to spotlight the cooking surface again. Maybe all that heat from the cooking messed with the camera. Let's hope that it's working again. Let's see. Chef, I think it's turned black. I don't know if a screensaver came on or anything. Can you check that? The top camera.
Well, I see it on my side.
Oh,
I see my tray going underneath it. It's not happening.
It just looks, is that just look black to everybody? Or maybe it's just me. I just see a black screen. I saw it a minute ago and now it's just black.
Nope, I
I
see
can
myself.
You can see it?
Thank you.
Oh, interesting. Oh, you guys can see it. I can't see it. Okay. Well, then we will carry on. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for bearing with the technical stuff.
Okay, so let's see what I got here. Okay, so I cooked up my little French lentils this morning. And I did not soak these. So interesting. Yeah, I did not soak these ones. I soaked the other ones. Go figure. And you know, you can see that one cup of lentils makes a lot of lentils. You know, when it cooks up, I mean, that's at least 2 cups, maybe 3. So for our recipe, let me just talk this through a little bit, right? So we've got everything cooked. I drained it. So I did the green lentils, the water, the French lentils, the water, the bay leaf. I did thyme, dried thyme, garlic, and then I drained it. Okay, so then what we're going to do is pick up from the draining. Drain and discard the bay leaf, and then mix together the rest of the ingredients in a large bowl. This is a real simple recipe. It's a great recipe to take to a potluck because you can make it ahead, you can chill it. Great recipe to make if you're, you know, on the weekend to get ready for a work week. You can take this with you. You can put it in a wrap even, you know, besides eating with a salad or eating it in lettuce leaf, you could also eat it in a tortilla. That would be delicious. So what we've got is all kinds of flavors and crunchy things to add. So we're going to just basically just go for it. And oh, I didn't bring it. Excuse me. Like capers. I see that I have capers in this recipe. So I had some red cabbage shredded. So I'm going to add red cabbage. I have celery. So this is about one good sized stalk of celery, makes about half a cup. So I chop that up. I have red bell pepper chopped. So you can see there's lots of really pretty colors here. I have red onion that I minced fine. And then what I like to do with my red onion is I like to strain it, pour water over it to kind of get that bite of the raw onion flavor. And so I put it in a fine mesh strainer and I poured water over it and then I drained it well. So this is my red onion. And then I have some sun-dried tomatoes. I have fresh parsley. You could even add some basil to this. This would be really nice with basil. And I'm gonna just take out my big jar of capers. A couple spoonfuls. Let's see, what did I say? 2 tablespoons. I'll do three spoonfuls. Again, you can put whatever you like in this recipe. If you know, there's something there that you're not fond of or don't have, you can substitute. All these are just little gauges for you, you know, just ideas for you to work with. I'm just going to mix this together. And then what I'm going to do is I have a salad dressing that I put together right here. Now this is 1/3 cup of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. I put a little bit of agave just to kind of buffer the vinegar, so maybe about a teaspoon. You could do maple syrup too. Some garlic cloves that I put through a press, you know, kind of pressed it through. A good squirt rounded tablespoon of stone ground or Dijon mustard. I had stone ground today. And then I put salt and pepper in here. And that's just to taste. So I'm going to pour this over. And you know, this is kind of like making a stew or something ahead of time where all those flavors are going to marinate in and taste wonderful the more they sit.
Great. And I wonder if somebody's making this for a meal prep for the week, would you still put the dressing on or would you kind of add it day by day?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends upon how much you like marinated, you know, things. I think you could go both ways. That idea of adding it day by day, you know, like in the morning, you're thinking just toss a little bit and then take it to work. Sure. But I don't think it's going to, you know, you've got a lot of vegetables here that aren't going to get too soft, right? You know,
Okay.
your celery and cabbage are going to still stay pretty crunchy. It's really a subjective thing.
Very true.
So I'm gonna put this on a bed of lettuce. I have this beautiful lettuce from my friend's farm. It's part Mizuna. And I'm gonna just pile that up. If you eat dairy, you could put a little bit of feta cheese. You could put Kalamata olives. All those wonderful things. And then I have some sliced cucumbers. So we could do a little bit of cucumber on the side. Nice cherry tomatoes.
Great.
Vibrant color.
And then maybe once you're done with it, also hold it up in front of the iPad camera, just because for me, it's still a black screen where the cooking screen is, but I'm glad that others of you are able to see it, but mine hasn't
And
come
I'm
back.
I'm first gonna do it close to this screen. Oh, that Mizuna looks really cool. A little spiky. Okay, that, and then let's see if I can tilt it without.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Wow. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Oh, imagine that being meal prepped in your fridge. When we talk about having color on your plate, that is vibrant and just looks delicious.
I don't think I'm doing a good job, but
No, I
I'm
think I can
trying.
see it. I can see that. It's
Okay.
much better than a black screen, so it's looking pretty good.
Okay. All right. I'll learn how to do kind of a turnaround selfie thing
Yeah,
while I'm on
great.
Zoom.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So does anyone have any questions about making this Mediterranean salad?
Let's see.
Oh,
Any questions, you guys? Oh, there now the camera came back, so that's good. I see something. Any questions? You guys see yourself making this?
okay.
Can you go over the dressing again?
I can. Yes. So what I had
Thank
was,
you.
of course, these are things that I tend to have in my house, so it's uh if you don't have so I had olive oil, balsamic vinegar. So it's a third a cup of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, a sweetener, something to kind of balance off the oil and the vinegar. So I used agave today, but you could do a little like squirt of honey, a teaspoon of honey, agave, or maple syrup. And then I put a garlic clove, a fresh garlic clove, through one of those little presses. You could just chop it fine and mince it. And then just added some mustard. So whatever mustard you have in the house, you could do yellow, you could do Dijon, you could do stone ground, you could do, the honey mustard. If you do the honey mustard, then you don't need to add the sweetener. Just kind of what's there, salt and pepper. And then I just used a little, like a little whisk that I had, and I just whisked it all together. And then I just poured that over the salad. So that vinegar is going to kind of marinate the lentils.
Sounds delicious. Now, somebody was
And
asking, how long do you cook the lentils in a pressure? What's this pressure pan? Is that the same as a pressure cooker, Alessandra? Yeah.
so usually, each pressure cooker kind of has their own, it's like learning their own language. Now, my pressure cooker is a Fagor brand, and it generally takes about, trying to think now because I cook these lentils, I'd say about 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. It's pretty fast for the lentils. But then
Right.
it also depends on which lentil you're using, right? The red lentils are quicker. And then if you soak them, it's going to be a little quicker. So there's variations. So I can't give you like a direct answer, but I'd say at least a third of the time. You cut off a third of the time by pressure cooking.
Okay. Great. And then we had a question too about the canned lentils. And I know the canned
Oh,
lentils are
yeah.
something I've used before, but I'm thinking actually now that you boiled these specifically with some bay leaf and additional herbs, the canned lentils wouldn't have that depth of flavor that the dry lentils cooked in that specific broth would have.
Right,
But they're
right.
still a good option. Yeah.
Oh, they're a great option
Mm-hmm.
to have canned
Mm-hmm.
lentils. I use lentils sometimes when I just need more, or I can't find them dried or whatever. I use the canned ones in lentil soup. They work for when you're doing like a lentil loaf. Yeah, those lentils are a good backup when you need them. Keep 3 to 4 days in the fridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Okay, so
would
I'm
say that.
gonna. My timer just went off, so I went to check
Okay.
it, and it had basically almost cooked off all the liquid on the burner. So
Oh,
I'm
so you don't
gonna
have
go
much to
just,
drain.
yeah, and I'm also gonna just test one real quick. I'll be
Yeah.
back
Yep.
to see if
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
cooked.
Yep. And I
I'm
get that
gonna
this
mush
can
it.
seem like a lot of ingredients, you guys, but hopefully these recipes, as you'll see, like the red onions could be used in the barbecue lentil, and they can also be used in this lentil salad. Or, you can kind of use those same ingredients if you're not using the full amount of a cabbage or an onion or a bell pepper, use the rest of it in a different dish that you can repurpose it with,
Right.
is a good way to look at it. So it can take a little bit of planning. And some of these, once you start cooking this way, more plant-based, like the balsamic, the honey, the garlic, the Dijon, you're going to notice a lot of these same ingredients in rotation. And so they'll become the staples in your pantry or in your fridge that will be in a lot of the different recipes that you're preparing. So it's kind of an investment that you make into that, is I guess how I would answer that.
Okay, so it doesn't always cook off all the liquids, so that's just something you're going to have to visually keep an eye out. But I think because I had the burner on kind of high and wasn't watching it, it cooked off all the liquid, which is actually advantageous. So I don't have to do that step. And I am looking for, okay, so what we're going to do is going back to our barbecued lentils with eggplant. We're at the point that after number 5, it says drain off any excess liquid, not applicable here. We're moving on to 6. So we're going to add in fresh tomatoes. And along the lines of what Heather was saying, I had a bunch of cherry tomatoes that happened to just be in my house that were getting overripe. So I thought, oh, perfect. I'll use these in this recipe today. So I'm using I just halved my cherry tomatoes and I had a little bit of aroma. So I've got cherry tomatoes to use up because I had them and they needed to be used up. I have a little bit of tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, just going to give a little kick. And then I have my favorite brand of barbecue, which is, I like Annie's. So I have the, I don't know if it's sweet and spicy or maple. I kind of go back and forth on the different flavors. I have that. And then I'm going to just turn the heat on. And kind of what the goal is to cook down the tomatoes a little bit with the heat. So the tomatoes are going to be cooked. I've got the vinegar, I've got cilantro and salt and pepper. This is a little more cilantro than it called for, but I was just finishing up what I had. And it says to cover it. I'm going to get some salt and pepper to cover. I have this little jar that I keep my salt in. I like that Himalayan salt.
Mm-hmm. So how about when people say like, oh, salt and pepper to taste, like what on average, like what would you say you just put in there? It was a little scoop.
Probably, yeah, probably about a half a teaspoon, half to 3/4. I'll start there and then maybe add more. Kind of like salty myself. And then I'm just going to sprinkle on pepper, maybe a 1/4. You know, again, it's one of those subjective things. You know, if you like things more vinegary, you add more vinegar. You know, you like things real peppery, you add more pepper. So it's fun to just kind of have this idea, you know, the template. And then you know, if you might like spicy food, I'm not like a real spicy food person, but you might want to do a little kick of hot sauce in here, or your barbecue sauce is kind of a hot barbecue sauce. So, you
add
know,
your personality. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So I'm going to just let that cook down a little bit. And, you know, if it starts getting dry, you could add a little bit liquid back in. You know, I don't have any liquid to add back in, but you know, get a little water or broth if it's starting to stick on the bottom. So that's the option there. And you know, for anyone that is trying to avoid oil, you can make this recipe no problem. I mean, you can just saute your, you know, your onions in broth or water. Or you can just skip that whole step and put everything together in the pot and cook it. No, you don't need to use the olive oil. As far as if you're trying to avoid or just not use oil in your salad, that your Mediterranean lentil salad, you could add something like a little bit of apple juice or you could do something. And then if you did that, that was a little sweet, you wouldn't use the sweetener, right, to balance. Or you could do a little bit of a broth here, vegetable broth, like a diluted vegetable broth, and then just use that to toss. So it's just some other options. If that's something that's going on in your, your diet.
Yeah, those are great suggestions.
I am just getting that, watching my tomatoes. You can see that the eggplant's very soft, but you can still see the pieces. I don't like uncooked eggplant, but I also don't want it to not, you don't want to lose it. Challenges, right? Of cooking.
Yeah, this is a great recipe. I have made this before. So somebody's asking, what do you like to eat the barbecue lentils with? How would you turn that into, I guess, a plated meal?
Well, I personally like it with brown rice on it, and I like it with like a slaw, something kind of a crunchy slaw. That's kind of how I like to eat it. Or a nice green salad. That would be nice with like a vinaigrette. That would be tasty. But you could you could eat this with some crusty bread. That would be delicious.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have that Ezekiel bread because it's a little bit heartier bread, and then I will just kind of put that on top of the bread, and you can eat it kind of like a sloppy Joe or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yummy. Yeah. So this would be
somebody's
good
asking.
cold.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, someone's asking if peas or celery would be okay to add.
Sure. Anything. You might want to add the peas when you add the tomatoes, because if you overcook the peas, they're gonna get overcooked and turn, more kind of brownish. The celery I would do in the beginning. That would be a nice kind of crunchy thing to add. Yeah, it looks like it's almost there. They're getting nice and soft. And then, what I do is I just taste it at the end and then just adjust flavors. I always do that in a recipe because, sometimes you like, oh, I want a little more salt or need a little bit more vinegar. Just, make it how you like it. Because everyone's got different taste buds.
Yep. And just a time check, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left.
Okay. So I'm going to take this out and put it in a bowl so you can see finished product. Sorry, I was thinking about another way that I like to eat this, and actually have some fresh garden greens in my fridge. So I thought, well, maybe I'll cook up some collards and just have some nice, greens, or you could do spinach, a little bit of spinach on the side. That would be nice too.
Yeah, it just adds more color.
Yeah, so you can add in some green onions at the end, extra cilantro, and then you've got really nice, colorful bowl of lentils. Yeah,
that looks good. Yeah, and that's a tasty
good.
one. I have that in rotation at my house as well. It's a yummy one. And you can really adjust the flavor depending upon what type of barbecue sauce you use, because some are sweet and some are, spicy. So yeah, that's where it'll really change up the flavor depending upon the type of sauce you put in.
Some are smoky. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about either recipe?
Any questions, you guys?
Seem doable? I have one.
Go ahead.
In the eggplant what is the recommended lentil beans to use? Was it brown?
The eggplant dish, yeah, it was the, well, you could use the brown or the green. The green ones are the most common ones you'll see in the store, right? When you see the packages of dried pinto beans or split peas, you'll see the dried green lentils. That's the ones that this recipe is saying to use. But those brown ones that are actually the red ones inside, those work
Yeah.
really well in this recipe too.
Okay, and then in your salad, what kind of lentil beans was that?
It's called French lentils, also known as PUY, Puy lentils. They're a little smaller. They almost look a little speckled, and they hold their shape when you cook them. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I don't know if I can do it well, but if I get kind of close, that give you a little idea of.
Yep, move it to the left. I think you're left a little bit. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so they're kind of like mottled. Almost look like they have little brown spots on them. They're really pretty lentils. Of course, they don't keep that when they cook, but they're fun to look at, and they're tiny. Not tiny, there's some that are smaller, but they're smaller and firmer than the green ones.
Great question, you guys. Lentils are just full of nutrition, full of protein, iron, fiber. Yeah. So
They fill you up too.
great for your body. Yeah, they do fill you up. I think they have that second meal effect. Yeah, they can really hold your blood sugar stable for a long time. So very filling. All right. Any other questions, you guys, before we close out today? You can keep them coming in the chat. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chef, too, for, negotiating with all the different technical issues that we had with that. So thanks for hanging in there. Oh, somebody's saying, should I chill the salad before putting it on lettuce? I'm guessing that's the Mediterranean lentil salad. Should you chill it first?
Well, yeah, I mean, otherwise your lettuce will, wilt, but it depends upon whether you mind that or not. It's a subjective thing, but if it's warm, it'll wilt your lettuce.
Good thing to take into consideration. Okay, I'm going to stop lighting this, and you guys can feel free. I'm going to put up the PowerPoint again real quick as we close out our time, but feel free to keep putting in your questions into the chat. We'll reserve some time here at the end to make sure that we can get back to them. So let me just resume here. Hopefully you can see as my screen gets going. There we go. All right, we did our questions. Oops. Let me back up here. Okay, so we are going to be hosting the Culinary Medicine class series. We'll continue on. Normally, it's on the fourth Monday of the month from 5 to 6 p.m. So just want to draw your attention to the change in the class schedule. So it's going to be only in 2 weeks. So that gives you a quick amount of time to practice these recipes. Come back to us on March 13th. Same time, 5 to 6 p.m. Chef will be preparing 2 different kinds of plant-based burgers, and those are delicious. And again, great for meal prep, great for freezing, really fun to try. And then just some support for you guys if you're continuing to move in this plant-based, whole food plant-based direction. You can always partner with one of our wellness coaches to support you in setting those goals, checking in with you for support, for accountability, for resources. You can call the 432-2260 and ask to make an appointment with a coach. You can also make those appointments directly yourself on kp.org. Go under the appointments tab and then you'll see wellness coaching and you can schedule it there. In addition to this class, we have several other wonderful classes we want to make you aware of. As I mentioned, we have the Get Your Plate in Shape class. It's a 90-minute one taught by our dietitians that goes over this how to design your plate with making vegetables the star of it. Or if maybe you're just working on a specific health condition like prediabetes, diabetes, or heart health, we've got classes that are specific to those topics as well. So we really hope you'll check out all the different programs we have to offer. And I'm going to put another link in the chat here that will bring you to this class flyer so that you can access this directly from your computer as well. And wow, we're right on the button, 6 o'clock, we did it. So thanks again for spending this last hour of the day here with us. We're so happy that you're here and that you were curious and motivated enough to come and join us to learn more about this type of cooking style. As you can tell, we love it. We are enjoying being here with you. So thanks for making that happen. And with that, again, we'll just kind of open it up for any questions, but otherwise feel free to sign off and go enjoy your evening and hopefully a wonderful, nutritious, healthy dinner. And anything you want to add, Chef?
Nope, I can't think of anything else at this point in time. Enjoy. Look forward to hearing feedback when you come next time to class on how
Yeah.
you like the 2 recipes.
Yeah, make that your goal, you guys. So if you come next time, be prepared. We want to hear from you. Type it in the chat. Make that your your accountability. We're your accountability partners to try out the recipes. Let us know what you think. And then again, we're here if you have any questions. And, maybe if it doesn't go perfect the first time, don't worry, right? This takes a little bit of time to get used to these different ingredients and the cooking times and the different types of lentils. So please be patient with yourself in the process. And we'll be here to come alongside you and help you to build that confidence in the cooking. And I see, is Dr. Jun still on? Nope, she jumped off, so I won't pass the mic to her at all. Oh, so Margot's asking about where can I get the recipes? So in the class invite, you guys, the email that you got that had the link to join class today, there is a link in that email that will take you to the recipes that Chef covered today. So just look for it in that email and you'll have them. And I'm happy if that's a hardship for anybody, I can also just kind of scroll back in the PowerPoint here. You can take a picture. Take a picture with your camera. Yeah, you're welcome, you guys. Thanks for being here. Any other questions? You want me to scroll back? Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and scroll back. So yeah, I know it's easier, right? Okay, so here's the barbecue lentils with eggplant. And then let me know when you are ready for me to move to the other one. Okay, do you have this one, Margot? Okay, and here's the other one, the Mediterranean lentil salad. Like I said, I personally love making these lentil salads for meal preps. It's a great for lunch. You can portion it out, in some Tupperware containers for the week and then just grab and go, because they last for several days in the fridge. And and like you said, they get more flavorful kind of each day. They taste better and better. And they will help you to feel full. You won't be hungry. Sometimes people think that, right? If I eat healthy, I'm gonna be starving 2 hours later. And I really don't think that's gonna be the case with a lot of these recipes. They're gonna hold you over. Okay, great. Any other questions? All right. Well, if not, then we will close out over here. Thanks again, Chef Alyssa, for being with us, for everybody's patience with, I'm so glad the video came back on. I'm wondering if the heat from the, the steam from, from the cooking messed with it or what. We'll have to find out, but thanks for hanging in there, giving us the feedback so we could try to find alternate ways for you guys to see what Chef was doing. But all right, well then, oh, well here, I'll come on camera here too. So, all right. Thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your evening and we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you again in about 2 weeks time. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.